Hey everybody, Darren Voros here. Today I want to walk you through where to invest, the top real estate locations in 2021. My viewers often ask me, where should I invest? Which cities and locations are best for real estate investors? And I get it. Many real estate investors think that they just need to pick the right location and the rest will take care of itself. What some people don't see is that this topic is very layered. Of course, I could give you a list of cities that are going to be great this year, and I will address the top 5 Canadian cities and the top 3 American cities in 2021 in this video. But if you don't know what you're doing, it won't give you the results you expect. That's why this video has 2 parts. First, I'll talk about some general guidelines you can use before investing in real estate. These guidelines will help you qualify a market and strategy so you can start to make your own decisions on where you'd like to invest. Then I'll talk about some specific locations that you could invest in. I'll also tell you why these cities are great so you can do your own analysis as well. As you may or may not know, I am Canadian and I'm going to talk about some Canadian cities and some cities in the US, but regardless of where you're located, the fundamentals of choosing a market are exactly the same. Before we get into it today, if you haven't done so already, you can subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and please feel free to leave comments and questions below for me. And without further ado, let's get into it. Rule number 1 when you're looking at a market to invest in is approach it like a business. Real estate investing should not be an emotional purchase. It should be based on the numbers, and if the numbers don't work, you have to walk away. Many of you will want to invest in your local market because it's familiar to you, and you may feel a certain sense of security in being able to drive by your property and see what's going on. Investing in your local market is going to work for some of you. Others may realize that when you're running your numbers, you may not be able to afford your local market, or there may be better opportunities elsewhere. Don't let the emotions creep in too much. If I told you there was a great company based out of Silicon Valley that sells computers, phones, and watches that you should invest in, you wouldn't feel the need to move there to invest. Real estate is no different, but we somehow separate the two. If you're investing based on good numbers, fundamentals, and you've got a strong team, location shouldn't really matter. My number 2 rule is know what you want to invest in. You want to be aware of what kind of properties you're looking for. Are you looking for single family homes, commercial buildings, multifamily buildings, or are you looking for vacation homes like cottages and beach houses? There are a lot of possibilities and all of them can be good, but especially in 2021, the world is still dealing with the effects of the global pandemic. So vacation rentals, for instance, depending on location, could be the best investment in your portfolio right now, or they could be the worst. In my opinion, the best investments are still small multifamily properties, purpose-built single-family homes with legal suites, or single-family dwellings that have been converted to a duplex or a triplex. With these properties, you get the benefit of having multiple revenues coming in on one property, but should you decide to sell, it's still an easy asset to liquidate because it's a single-family dwelling in a neighborhood surrounded by other single-family dwellings. My number 3 rule when it comes to knowing where you want to invest is understand the local rental market. When you have found a city that you want to invest in, take a look at these 3 things. How high is the vacancy rate in the city? The lower the better, obviously. If the vacancy rate is under 3%, that's a good sign that there's a significant demand for rentals in the area. You'll also want to look at what the rental rates are in relation to the purchase price. In other words, does the property have positive cash flow? Positive cash flow occurs when our rents add up to more than all of our expenses combined. And if you're not sure how to calculate positive cash flow, check out this video right here. You also need to know what your tenant demographic will be. Are you looking for affordable housing tenants, young professionals, seniors, students, or vacationers? Your property condition, location, and rental rates will dictate a lot of your tenant demographic, but if you plan to attract a high-quality tenant but your property is located in a less than desirable area, it's going to be hard to find good tenants. Rule number 4 is understand your general trends. Keep in mind that real estate investing is evolving and moving. What is true today might not be true a few years from now. For instance, currently we're seeing a trend for more space. Many people are working from home, so they want an extra bedroom for an office or flex space. That might mean they're moving out of their condo to a house in the suburbs, or they might just be moving to a bigger condo or a larger house with more bedrooms. But this is what's working right now, and it can change over time. So never skip your own research and always keep an eye on what's happening in your local market. Rule number 5 is understand your strategy. In real estate investing, there are many different strategies. Buy and hold, fix and flip, short-term rentals, rent to own, and so on and so on. In order to invest successfully, you have to know which strategy you want to use. The cities I'm going to talk about in a moment are definitely great for investors who are interested in a long-term buy and hold strategy, but that doesn't mean they're great locations for every strategy. If you want to fix and flip properties, there might be other locations that will give you a higher rate of return. Ultimately, remember that real estate investing is not a get-rich-quick game. So if you're expecting to be a millionaire overnight, you might need to adjust your expectations. With all of that said, let's look at the best cities to invest in 2021. As promised, I'm going to give you my opinion on the top 5 cities in Canada and the top 3 cities in the US to invest in. Please take my advice with a grain of salt. Don't blindly invest in something because somebody tells you to. Take the time to do your own research. And the good news is that if you're investing based on fundamentals, any market should work. With that in consideration, let's look at some specific locations to consider in 2021. Number 5, St. Catharines and Niagara Falls, Ontario. These 2 cities are close to the US border, while also about an hour and a half from Toronto. Homes are very affordable and there's lots of entertainment in the area. The average home is around $390,000, and over the past 5 years, prices have gone up around 8% annually, and rents have increased by 13.5% in that same 5-year period. Number 4, Victoria, British Columbia. Victoria is the top choice for investors who want to invest in Western Canada. It's known for great jobs, great weather, and great schools. Home prices have been rising quickly in the recent years, which is making Victoria a difficult market to cash flow in. Right now, the average home is about $600,000, so it can also be harder to break into that market. But if you can get in and find a property that has positive cash flow, Victoria has great long-term prospects. In the past 5 years, investors enjoyed an average increase of 7% annually on property value, and rents have gone up 24% in that same 5-year period. Number 3, Brantford, Ontario. What makes Brantford attractive to investors? Well, one factor is definitely that renters can easily commute from Brantford to Toronto. The city has very diverse housing types, and there are also various condo and townhouse projects that are in the works. Brantford also has a diverse economy, which makes it very stable, and there are 3 universities in the area. The average home price in Brantford is about $500,000, which is half the price of owning a property in Toronto. So as I mentioned earlier, you'll see some Toronto residents looking to rent or buy in a more affordable market if they're no longer required to be in Toronto as often for work. Number 2, Windsor, Ontario. Windsor made its path from worst to first recently, but couldn't hold on to the top spot. In 2008, the location took a huge blow. General Motors had to close their transmission plant in the city, and the vacancy rate was 15% at one point. But now Windsor is definitely in growth mode, and the vacancy rate has dropped to around 3%. Between 2018 and 2019 alone, the average home price jumped 20% in Windsor. If you were clever enough to invest in Windsor when their economy was struggling, you would have seen huge returns. But even if you didn't, you still could see great returns if you're investing in the right kinds of properties. And the number 1 city to invest in Canada is Guelph, Ontario. Guelph is a great place to invest in because more people have been moving into Guelph than have been moving out of it. And despite this influx of new residents, unemployment has managed to stay very low. Guelph is a part of Ontario's Places to Grow initiative, which makes it a point of focus for economic and infrastructure investments. What's more, Guelph is also home to the University of Guelph, which is another growth factor and a consistent source of renters. Investors in Guelph have seen an 8% annual increase in price over the last 5 years. So those are my top 5 locations to invest in 2021. Ontario is definitely very popular, but if you want to invest in your own province, here's a list of cities to look out for in 2021 for each province. These are in no particular order: Gatineau, Quebec; Winnipeg, Manitoba; Moncton, New Brunswick; Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island; Regina, Saskatchewan; Halifax, Nova Scotia; St. John's, Newfoundland; and Edmonton, Alberta. But what if you live in the US or you're a Canadian and you want to invest in the US market? Here are my top 3 cities for US investments. Number 3, Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta's population has grown 14% in the last decade. It's a hotspot for real estate investors with about 500 people moving to Atlanta each day, properties starting at $70,000 US, and a 3-year appreciation forecast of 9.3% annually. Number 2, Dallas, Texas. And a shout out to my friend Nikki Brown, who I visited in Dallas last year. Dallas is an amazing city. Dallas has a diverse economy, and it's estimated that 340 people move to this city every single day. The population of Dallas is expected to double in the next 15 years. Dallas is also one of the leaders in the US for employment and population growth, and 52.9% of Dallas residents rent versus the national average of 33%. So it means that Dallas is a very tenant-friendly market. And the number 1 city to invest in the US, you guessed it, Boise, Idaho. Home prices are soaring in Boise, Idaho, and breaking records despite the coronavirus pandemic. Tight inventory in the entire Boise housing market, coupled with historically low 30-year fixed mortgage rates, are keeping the demand high, which in turn is pushing home prices up in this region. The real estate appreciation rate in Boise in the latest quarter was around 2.44%, which equates to an annual appreciation rate of roughly 10%. For sellers, that means there's a nice profit on the horizon. The population is also growing, and there's a low cost of doing business in Boise, which also makes the city very attractive to investors. Before you invest in any market, make sure you're not only considering the hottest locations, but also look for cities and locations that offer you a balanced return on your investment. You'll want to look at property values, rental prices, affordability, transportation, jobs, immigration, median income, and of course, within each market, there will be submarkets. So you'll really need to know your market on a street-by-street basis. And I know that sounds like a lot of work, and it is. If real estate investing was easy, everyone would be doing it. But if you stick to the fundamentals, take the emotion out of it, and match a strategy with your current needs, you'll be in a good position to capitalize on the benefits of investing in real estate. And if you hit the like button below, your chances of being a successful investor go up significantly. Okay, I really can't back that up with any kind of proof, but it does help out me and my channel, and I would very much appreciate it. You can also subscribe to my channel, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. Tell me which cities look promising in your opinion to invest in 2021. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or check out my website at darrenvoros.com. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching. I wish you the best of success on your real estate investing journey, and I look forward to hearing your success stories very soon.